Hello, everyone out there. So happy to be with you all. My name is Darren Austin Hall, and I'm really happy to be on this call and this dialogue today with Shantree and Lorena from the Living Center, which is back in my home country of Canada, specifically near the town of London, Ontario. I actually went to university near there, so it's a place that has a dear place in my heart. And Lorena, Shantree, and I are going to be running some amazing activities in Costa Rica and have been already doing some amazing activities back in Canada as well. I've been admiring their work for a very long time. And for whatever reason, my busy schedule, I was never able to go and do any mentoring or work with them until very recently. And I'm very happy and honored that these opportunities have opened for me to work with them. I revere them as true Earth elders. They bring so much wisdom into the world. They've been forming this beautiful community, this eco-spiritual sanctuary called the Living Center. So thanks for doing this, jumping on this call, this talk. And how are you guys doing back in Canada? I'm coming to you from Scotland, where it's quite chilly.
It's quite chilly here. We're doing great. We're just coming out of the harvest season, and the leaves are turning amazing colors, as they always do here in this part of the world, and they're falling, and the earth is calling us to go inside and to let the harvest of this past year begin to find its prepare us for the next phase. Yeah.
What I would add to that is to me, this magical time of year is inward time. It's an inner enchantment time where there's dreaming, there's wonderings, and there's ways of getting to go into the heart.
Yeah.
And it's been a very full cycle here at the center, and look forward to the next one now.
Yeah, it's great to have this time, and it's also great to be online with you and talking about these possibilities that we're creating together, and particularly now in Costa Rica. So the center, just for those of you who are new, probably most of you will be new to hearing about the Living Center. We've been around for 40 years. We're an eco-spiritual education center. We're a permaculture center. Shantree and I have both been doing this for many decades. And it's a beautiful spot here. It truly is an oasis in the midst of monoculture, and showing that there are other ways to live and to thrive. That, there's, as you mentioned earlier when we were talking, there's kind of this buzzword right now about the new earth, like, what is this? What is emerging now? What wants to come forth into form that's going to be quite different, and in some ways radically different to what we've known in the past. And so we feel here that, we're, I think like so many people, we're kind of fumbling along toward ecstasy, really. We know that the earth is calling us to something new. We're either on board riding the wave, or we're going to drown. And because it is a time of great transformation. People are feeling it, whether they know it in their consciously or not. Everybody is feeling this change coming. And so we're pressing into that question. Well, okay, then what now? And what is the guide? Where do we find our teachers and guides for this? It's the earth.
Yeah, what I would add to that is, since 1983, when the center began, I would say I've been listening real deeply of what next. Then we've been doing that together, of asking the earth of what next. And now there's a community of people who are really loving this piece of land. And when people come together and dream together of what they're sensing, what is coming, and what we're dreaming in, the power is there. It gets magnified when a group of people come together with that focus. And so this center has gone through many metamorphoses from the 80s, early 80s, to where it is now. And that's why this 50 acres has been transformed. There's been tens of thousands of trees planted here. And the forest is an ancient forest now here of this 25 acres that has really been held for a long time, even before I came on land. And so right now, with what the shift that's happening on the planet is people coming together and really to feel that enchantment of the heart of what do I want to do now, and having other people saying yes to what's coming to you.
Yeah.
It gets magnified.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that we talked about, Darren, with you about this retreat in Costa Rica is, what is the purpose of it? And a big piece of that is for people to have time to reconnect, in these deep earth connected ways, from the spirit of I am earth. Now, where does she want me? What is the next step in my life? I can't count how many people have come through our center in this past season and have quit their jobs or on the edge of quitting their jobs and just saying, no more, I can't. It's aching inside of them. I can't do this anymore. I'm here. But then the next sentence is, I'm here for a purpose.
Yeah.
There's something I'm here to do. And it's so beautiful hearing this from so many people, because it's like, the unexpected people, not the people that have kind of been walking this path for the last 50 years and have hung around with other people that have been walking this path. These are
the awakening. It's an awakening.
It's such an awakening that's happening. And so what this place provides, and what we're hoping to provide in Costa Rica with you, is a space for people to reconnect at the soul level so that they can, the questions that they ask can be answered. Because the answer is there. Everything you need is here.
And it is a very, scary thing of, stepping out of the paradigm that all of us have been in before and saying, I'm going to step into this other way of life.
Yeah.
To have a different expression, a different craft, a different way of being, a different way of what I'm going to be doing now that's going to create the new earth, that's going to create the new paradigm. So don't talk about, the new paradigm's coming. It's like, it is happening now. Yeah. And the more people that step into this, it just becomes the reality that new earth is being born by each person's heart saying, yep, I'm going to take that leap. Here I go.
And the leap might be something as simple as really changing one's way of being where they're at.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of, we've spoken a lot about how to contextualize the pandemia, that we went through. And I remember during the first year of it, when it really hit and the most intense lockdowns happened, and we went through this very drastic change as a collective species, I had these two dear sisters of mine that I'd met in Costa Rica, and they do work with these elder Indigenous women, and they reached out to one of their grandmothers in a sort of desperation of how should we be praying? What should we be doing to help this shift, to help this terrible adversity we find ourselves on the planet? And, this elder in typical elderly fashion, laughed, in the face of all the terror, just laughed and said, this is the answer to our prayers. This is the sacred pause that we've all been waiting for. And, I think I resonate a lot with what you're saying, that there seems to be now a lot of lay people, people who may have been putting off the transformations because we seemingly had time. There wasn't, the flood wasn't washing up on the shore of our front yards. And yet now we find ourselves with systems failing, with the climate changes that are happening. Everything is so undeniable now. So you've alluded to a bit of this. I'd love to learn more about, because you've had this center for so long and you've probably seen so many different rhythms and waves. And I loved being up there this past summer and doing this day-long retreat that we're now really expanding into this week-long Re-Enchanting Your Life. And Lorena, what really touched me was seeing how when we went through the beautiful altars on your land, because Lorena and Shantree have these beautiful 4 altars to the elements, or is it 5? Actually, you have the 5th element. Yeah. And when we went to each altar, Lorena would channel the spirit of the elements. And so just like confidently, so unabashedly, so beautifully. And what I felt was, one, there was like this beautiful transmission that would come through that we would all be so captivated by. And I also felt like you were sort of inspiring others to be like, yes, we are nature. You know, what I'm doing isn't necessarily extraordinary. It's just how we are supposed to be. We're in this continuum of wild intelligence. And I'm just curious with that, what have you been seeing now that's really changing now that we have entered through this portal of the pandemic? What is becoming more clear that people need, and what shifts do you think Mother Earth is really telling us to make now that it seems like we're out of the pandemic, and yet now it's like our civilization seems mortally wounded. You know, the systems are really just like falling. Which is also ecstatic. You know, I can sense the excitement too, which I love that you render that part, because it's not a doomy, gloomy time at all in some ways. You know, it's actually an exciting time.
It is exciting, and it can be also very frightening. You know, like and that's not to be denied, and I know you don't deny it. And they're also very sad with what we see happening. And the fact that so many people are waking up to the fact that this, so many of the systems, the governments, the medical system, are systems that they can't trust anymore. And it was a beautiful thing to have a sense of trust. And why shouldn't we? I mean, why shouldn't we raise our children in such a way that they don't have to grapple with the idea of, can I trust, can I not? Like in the future, that won't be an issue. And why should it be, in truth, where we come back into a place of interconnectedness, a place of honesty, you know, with ourselves, with the earth, with our actions. And so that's one of the things is, you know, this disillusionment. So yes, people, there's a sadness to this, there's a despair even, but that's necessary for us to move into, okay, the what now? So the thing that I'm noticing the most, which I am loving, and it's so simple, is we all see what's going on, you know, that with the groups that we've gathered with through the whole pandemic, and, you know, we see what's going on. We see something that's this technological age that's being tried to be imposed, which really, really challenges our freedom. And so we see this, you know, there's always been agendas. And so we see the agenda, and there's always been agendas in every era, right? And so now what? So when we gathered and I channeled the elements the way I did, it was because there was a circle of people that were there that were committed to wanting to re-enchant their lives, like desperately, because the disenchantment of not just the government systems, but the disenchantment that was there before all of this is all coming up. So many relationships, they have to look at each other. You know, so many people looking at their jobs, as I said earlier, looking at their lifestyles. They're like, is this it? Is this what it means to be human? You know, you slow down and you suddenly have to stop and look. So the disenchantment has been here for a very long time. It just has come to focus, and people are going, how do I re-enchant my life? And it's all about frequency. It's not, yes, it's about what you do. Like, and we this land has never had pesticides. It's all organic. We tend to the gardens with great care and love. We tend to everything, to the people, to the animals. Everything is respected as equal here. So that is important. But what is most important, and even for us to be able to do that, is the frequency, our own personal frequency. So the frequencies that are really dominant on the planet right now are fear and guilt, sadness, but a lot of fear, and the separation consciousness. Now, this, I'll just mention, this center here in our lives, everything we teach, whether it's herbalism or the earth wisdom teachings or nutrition or whatever it might be here, it's all dedicated to how do we come back into unity consciousness, interbeing, as Thich Nhat Hanh spoke, that word, it just says it, interbeing. So how do we do that? And that is a matter of frequency. And so because I was able to channel, because there was the frequency from people that were there, focused, wanting to do the work around how do we move to this place. And it took sound, the beautiful sounds you create, the stories that you told. It took being with the earth and being in the sacred spaces of all the altars. And really going, my gosh, I am the earth in expression. I am air, I am fire, I'm water, I'm earth, I'm ether. I am all of this. Therefore, I am that power. And how does nature work? It works in unification, but it also functions at a particular frequency. And it does not function at the frequency of fear. At the frequency of delight and joy and creativity and wonder. I mean, you see it in the eyes of every child.
Yeah.
It is our nature to be in wonder with life. And what we've created is a society that is, so ruled by the clock and so ruled by money that we've lost our connection. So it's really clear to us that the way back and the era that we're moving into is through our connection with the earth. So you and Shantree and I are going to be facilitating something at this beautiful place, Posada, over the new year. And we will hold a space, we will provide music, we'll dance, we'll do all these things. But it will be the intensity of the elements in Costa Rica. They still rule in a way that you're aware that they rule. They always rule. They rule here in London, Ontario, but it's obvious
it's
there.
Wilder than...
It's wild. And so it shifts something inside of us to remember who we are.
Yes.
So that's the thing I see happening with people. People are realizing enough with this fear, enough with this. That's an entrapment completely. If I live in fear, I'm living in, there's no freedom in that. How do I live in the excitement of being alive in these times? Because these are, as the grandmother said, this is exactly what we've been asking for.
Yeah.
Yes. And Costa Rica, I know for each of us has played a very special part in our lives. I know you've connected to this land for quite a long time. You were even married there. And it's a recent thing that happened for me in 2019 when I had a very spiritual experience during a Temescal sweat lodge, where I literally was taken to the edge of what I thought was my life. I thought I was going to die in this ceremony, intense heat. And it was through that surrendering to what I might just die that this voice came to me and said, you're afraid of death because you've never let Mother Earth love you, which totally changed that situation. And I went to my hands and knees and prayed to Pachamama, the Spanish word for the divinity of Mother Earth. And then the voice said, you need to move to Costa Rica. It's your new home because Mother Earth is loud and proud here. And I resonate with what you just shared, Lorena, specifically about Costa and doing any manner of retreat or work down there. But, it's going to be very opportunistic to be moving through the portal of the new year. It's also a time in Costa Rica, the end of December, where the lushness is at its height because the rainy season has come to a close and everything is just so nurtured by that watery element. And there's this wondrous river, the Rio Naranjo, running right beneath the retreat center Posada Natura. And I've always felt that when I go to Costa Rica, or increasingly felt the more time I spend there, that it is a place for us to really go and regenerate this connection to the earth, because there isn't really a matrix there as we perceive it in the West, and I never felt that more of a contrast than when I came back from Costa Rica. I was there throughout the whole pandemic, as you know, for a year and a half. I had this blessed experience that I was stuck in Costa Rica. And when I came back to Canada in the summer of 2021, with all the enforcement of security and all the 5G towers that have been put up, and just the high radiation levels, the matrix just smashed me. I had a 2-week period of very hard maladaptation. And it really made me realize in those moments, like, wow, Costa Rica is a very special place for us to go and regenerate, because, as you were also saying, this connection to Mother Earth is the most important thing right now, because as the human world, because it's really the human world that's really going through this collapse. Yes, we could say there are elements of the ecosphere because of the human world that are also going through their own collapses, and yet we can feel that there's more resiliency there. But the human world, the stock market, all these things, it's hard to feel there's so much of a resilience there. It feels like there's real cracks that are just going to collapse. And yet when you go to nature, there is this just peace there. And you're like, wow, like nature's just got it down. It's working in interdependence.
Yeah. So it's working with, there's so much spiritual energy on the planet right now. It's very different than 30 years ago, and even 20 years ago, and even 10 years ago. I mean, we feel this. We've been doing this literally for 50 years. And so we've watched the progression of the energy fields, and there is so much support. So people might say, well, I go to Costa Rica, I go there for a week, I have an experience, I come back, and there's all the 5G, and there's all, like, what's the point, right? The point is that when you are transformed, and that's why we kept coming back here, we would experience transformation there and bring it back here and build the living center based on the transformations that happen there so easily. So easy. Like, you're not even looking and it happens. But then, which is how nature works. But then when you bring in specific processes, like, the plant medicine connectivity, and, the beautiful work that you do with sound, dance, the movement, the connecting with the elements, that heightens it in a group. So I can understand, why, like, I was wondering what you were going to experience when you came back, because we've been down there for 8 years now, and it's, and we're down there for the winter. Now, we haven't been for the last about 10 years, but for the 10 years before that, we were there 10 years. We were there.
Yeah, we were there every year for 8 years.
Yeah. And we come back and experience this, but it was so worth it. It's neat because Costa Rica is so pure. It holds a place in our hearts. It's so dear, and we love this land. But we know a lot of what's emerged here has emerged because of the transformations of being in that purity of nature.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would say what was happening for us, we didn't realize what was happening us especially for the first 4 years we were there, is that we were being taught, we were really being imbued to know the elements as beings, as intelligence, creative beings, and that we were so changed, and that came and embodied that's what came and became imprinted on the land.
Yeah.
Because we started going there before the new millennium. So it was like almost 25 years ago when we started going there and being imbued by the elements over and over again of how much wisdom there is there. So we went through the same type of thing you did, Darren, of every time we came back, there was like this cultural shift. But the thing is, we were changed and we were able to put into taproot of how to live now differently.
And also that the connection of I am the elements and expression was able to be brought here amidst all of the energetic chaos of Canada, of any Western world, really. And so once you feel it, it's like once you get that knowing, that never goes away.
Yeah.
And then you cultivate it into your everyday. And that's the beauty of it. So now, yes, I can sit, I sit with my tree friend on a regular basis. The connections are so deep and so real now. And, it's where we're going as a species.
What I would add is that being down there, because it's so lush and green, is the greening power actually happens and it goes inside of you. And then when you come back, you actually want to be surrounded by the greening, and you start to act from a place of regenerating, rewilding yourself of where you want to be and who you want to be with. And that it's like you can't go there and not come back and live differently.
Yeah.
It's just, there's some shifts and it's permanent. So even if it's a week, even if it's 2 weeks, whatever it is, and this isn't just us saying this, but all the people that have come to retreats to us when we were down there for all those months, all those years ago, that has always been there, that there's something just, it's like your DNA comes back to its original. It's like,
it's happy.
It's before, but you have now been transformed. And especially when you're in a sacred space. So I love that term that you used, Darren, of sacred pause. And I think we need those sacred pauses on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, but especially when other people are saying yes to what you are sensing, what you're feeling, and being changed.
So I don't know if that answered your question.
That was a long answer.
Yeah, I know.
Tremendous. Love it. I mean, I resonate so much. I feel like you've contextualized for me in a deeper way my experiences in Costa Rica. I mean, I love how you shared, Shantree, that when you come back to whatever place you live in, like, I mean, coming back to Canada for me, like I was living in the big city of Toronto. Yeah, I definitely, now that I look back, it planted this seed of like just a longing to be in such a primal embrace of Mother Earth. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what I've felt ever since, that is the potential of Costa Rica to be this kind of lighthouse on the earth, to really almost like an aphrodisia, it's like seducing people back into, as John Lam Lash, one of my teachers, would say, the religion of beauty, which is Mother Earth. That's her religion. It's really enticing you to be in that wonder that I think is like such an initial step into this process of re-enchantment, which is, what I'm so excited to dive into for this week, because I think, being all of us together in this beautiful center, Posada Natura, which I know because I've run some retreats there. It's such a beautiful cradle. It's really off the beaten track. It's on the verge of one of the longest trains of jungle in all of Costa Rica, all the way from basically the Pacific to the Caribbean side. And then we have Eco Era, which is a 1,000-acre nature reserve, 10 minutes down the street, which we'll be hiking into. And through the portal of the new year. And I think people are craving these experiences now of what I like to call sacred revelry, where, because on the New Year's night, we're going to have an ecstatic dance, we're going to be doing all this meaningful work of connecting to the elements and really infusing this connectivity, and then having these points where we can celebrate, in that ecstatic way, the earth, and being alive, and how often do we just naturally do that, not in the context of drinking a bunch of alcohol and being out on the town, we're going to be in nature with cacao probably and just dancing to free our souls and just to celebrate their light. I think it's going to be such a potent portal for people to really experience what we've all been sharing here through words in a tangible way, and to feel such a powerful reframe. And I mean, just working with you, Lorena, and seeing just the way that you intimately kind of wove us to Mother Earth, I think there's going to be such an even more potent reframe for people at this time of great shaking on the world as we go through this new year, of that context of like, hey, we get to step into this whole new earth. We can be the stewards for this whole new world with all this support from Mother Gaia, which we need to really learn that we can pull on. Like, we are really supported to make this shift. She wants it. And I know we all feel it.
She's doing it. I mean,
Well, she's doing her part. It's just us stepping into that matrix.
Right.
And
right.
We chose this title, Re-Enchantment, which I know that some people can look at it and think it's frivolous in the midst of, all of the challenges that are being faced now all around the world.
Yeah.
And yet, and I've pondered it deeply, because as you know, my mentorship this year was called Living Wonder. And I had to ponder that. I thought, how many people are going to come to that? Because it can seem frivolous, like, no, let's do the hard work of, I don't know, whatever it might be, to bring the change, which is important. But if we don't reclaim if we aren't re-enchanted, if we don't re-enchant our lives, I don't think we're going to make it through the degree of shifts that are actually coming. It's in the re-enchant, it's in the wonder of creation that we find that spark of faith. It's not blind faith either. It's not hope. It's a faith in something that we are part of something so much larger, so much more beautiful, that is bigger even than the Earth's journey, that's connected at a cosmic level. And when we tap into that, we know we're on track. We know, okay, I am here for purpose. I am here to to offer this, to offer that, but it's how I am doing that. How am I re-enchanting every aspect of my life? And you know what? That's a discipline, I find, because it's so easy to be pulled down into the uncertainty. I was with a couple yesterday, and I mean, they're beautiful elders and so much to offer, but they're living in a lot of despair. And so we spoke about it, and we spoke, I totally get the validity of their despair. And what will make the difference in their lives and their children's and their grandchildren's lives. And it's one thing, and that is being so engaged with life and the enchantment of life that it creates this frequency that shifts us out of, and the people around us, out of the fear pandemic. Yeah. And so there's this, I'm love that we chose this word re-enchant, because I think that's what I think that's what being alive is about. And this is a future we want to create. At the school that we have here, the forest school. Boy, you see these kids.
They're enchanted.
And they are enchanted. They are enchanted. There is not a day.
Wow.
They were here today.
Yeah, so. Bear comes by and goes,
oh, wow.
I go, did you see that? That caterpillar, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see that?
Wow.
Where adults go, does a caterpillar sting? It's fine.
Oh, man. I wish I was a kid at your school. That sounds delightful.
Well, I can't wait.
Such important work. Wow.
When I think of it like in enchantment, I really think of the wild, and I love that expression, the wild, or the more primal something is, the more spiritual, the more you can feel that sacredness coming through the mycelium, coming through that soil, coming in. And to me, I mean, we've danced many times in the rainforest and been there and looking at the stars where there's, you can see the Milky Way, you can see so much. It's just, there's this opportunity to have that seed of re-enchantment for you to experience it, and you're changed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doing in that kind of setting, and
So many stories to tell.
Yeah.
But
and to us, that Costa Rica is our second home, and it's always been there, and that's why we got married there. And it was a very enchanting wedding, and all the many retreats that we've offered there over the years, and look forward to just working with you, Darren, and weaving that magic together to create this incredible, beautiful, life-changing experience.
Yay. Well, I'm super excited, and I'm sure we're going to get up to lots of magic in Costa Rica, not only on this retreat, but, we're planting seeds for other activities and then other things to do back in Canada. And I'm just so honored to be connecting deeper with both of you. I revere you both so highly, and I cannot wait to see you in your glory in Costa Rica, reunited with the great love of that land. I'm sure I'll just learn a lot from just being in your presence there and seeing how you pick up on all the frequencies. So, and for anyone out there who is interested, I'll attach links to this. We'll be sharing this video, and it's on both of our websites, social media. The Re-Enchanting Your Life Retreat, Costa Rica, happening December 29th till January 4th. It's the 4th or the 5th, I can't remember now, but happening through that portal and at this beautiful retreat center, Posada Natura, 6 nights, 7 days, and we're going to be up to so much wonderful stuff there. So
and also
I hope
mention,
you come and join us.
Yes. The early bird.
Yes, till November 1st.
November 1st, right. Yeah.
Yes. So definitely jump on that. And we hope you come down. It's a great time of year. As I mentioned, it's probably one of the most beautiful times of year to be in Costa Rica. And for those in the Northern Hemisphere, it's beautiful and warm. I always say the high season, which is pretty much mid-December till the end of May, is like, or the beginning of May, is like one long sunny day. It's just perfect.
Absolutely.
It really is. It's like hardly any rain, just beautiful sun.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for this talk, this chat. Always lovely to connect with you both.
Good seeing you.
You too. Really great to connect. All right.
Yeah. Much love. We'll see you soon.
Love to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.